So today we're back talking about how anime have been improving from the old and stuff like that. How we've been developing through the years. I'm gonna have a broader conversation. I know we've talked about Shonen specifically with pacing and stuff in the past, but let's really come in and really talk about the real topics in terms of has it been improving or not. We got a great guest today, Sam in the building, fellow YouTuber as well, man. All right, though. So let's just start it out, man. Who has thoughts right away when talking about how anime have been improving from the old, into the new? What are we thinking?
All right. May I go first, please?
Yeah, go ahead. Isaac, go ahead.
Hey, I'm sorry, but no. I definitely think anime has 100% improved, right? Because I don't think we can go back to the days of like the 80s and 90s where we have to wait. Well, we have to watch like 300 episodes just for a series to conclude. Now they're more like part ones, part twos, and I feel like it's easier not only to digest it, but also for binge watchers who love the series. So if you want to get caught up to the manga, if you want to learn something new, it's just easier now to me. I feel like it definitely improved for like you can director of anime. No, but it's just easier for everybody now. It's like if you want to make discussions and theories about the next season for YouTubers, content creators, Twitch streamers, it's just an easier way versus how it used to be.
Okay, I see that. Just like it's becoming more accessible to watch things. Like you're not gonna have a One Piece like we were just talking about before the stream that's like 1,000+ episodes. And Sam's over here like, how am I going to catch up? I've been watching this for like 5-6 years,
right?
And I'm still like 200 episodes behind. Like this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that is a big difference. And I think like as his point to say is like it's almost kind of like I feel like that's maybe even part of the reason why anime is becoming more mainstream and stuff like that.
I think like the efficiency of anime has gotten much better over the last couple of decades, specifically like in the 2020s. Like you can tell a story in 12 episodes that you just couldn't do 20 years ago. It used to take so much longer to get into the meat of the story, and now they just jump right in. It's really impressive how they've handled the efficiency of storytelling. That's something I've noticed.
And that's going off of that. As someone who's been reading more manga or trying to read more manga recently, it is like truly reflective, not just in like anime and like production schedule, but also like how things are being written. Like there's a lot of series that will come into, the biggest magazine in the world, manga magazine in the world, Weekly Shonen Jump. And from like the first 5 chapters, everyone reading it, all 15,000 people, all 10,000 people are like, oh, this is what this series is. These are the main villains. They're being set up this early. And like, even the best anime of 20 years ago, 30 years ago or whatnot, just don't have that level of, like you said, efficiency. But I would actually argue that in a lot of cases, it destroys what could have been the slow burn series. It destroys what could have been the longevity of a series because you introduce these plot points so early. And I know I've seen a lot of different people like go back and forth on whether that is an improvement or not. So for you, Sam, like I'm assuming that's definitely like something that you were appreciating in like the newer series that you're watching.
I appreciate that element, but I mean, like you said, there is like a give and take. Like to be more efficient, you lose a little bit of something else. Like in some cases, like you don't have like as much of like a whimsical nature or like a little bit like a downtime heart stuff. So like it depends on the series. I think in general, jumping into a more efficient approach is usually good, but there are certainly stories that would benefit from having, like you said, a slow burn or just like more downtime with the characters. Sometimes you're going so fast that you don't really get to know them in a way you should.
JJ.
So it is
yeah. I
had a sneeze.
I was gonna say it too. So hey, we on the same page. Yeah.
Yes, brother.
I missed it.
JJK, Jujutsu Kaisen is.
Oh yeah.
One of those.
Honestly, when I was saying that, I had that in mind.
That's the series. It just goes and like these characters that like you're supposed to fall in love with, presumably for 250 plus chapters. It's like, man, I don't really know you outside of a fight. Like I don't know what you did on Tuesday, and like for me to continue
The first
watching,
time I cared about Nobara
Oh dang.
was the episode she died.
Right. Good point.
exactly.
So
But even then,
I'm saying.
in the story, there's no break. There's no break for you to know how everyone else thinks about how she died. So even the care that you do feel for her, it's suppressed at the fact that like you don't know how her supposed friends even feel until X amount of time later.
Right.
Because
Yuzu said a very interesting thing I was thinking about. They said just think animators know their audience and also the endless competition new animes release every month. So I'm not gonna lie about that. I agree. Oh, yeah, also she also put plus people have shorter attention spans. No, I agree with it because like I feel like nowadays we're in an age where yes, it's super competitive and people do have low attention spans, so we can't like go back to how like Fist of the North Star was back then, or even some parts like Rurouni Kenshin and things of those type of anime. I feel like they're kind of done in how their pacing is, but I kind of like it, like how anime is improving now because now we have different countries also giving their perspective on anime culture, like Solo Leveling, one of the biggest and most renowned webtoon series, already got announced for like 7 more seasons after its first season, which that's just unheard of in any anime series, especially a Japanese animation studio. Dr. Stone, which had illustrators and people from their series from like France and Korea as well. It just shows like anime culture in itself is also changing. That's basically all I was saying.
Right. Okay. That's valid.
Yeah. Which is fair. And the influences are coming more globalized. And part of that is just like, you know, globalization actually taking effect on the industry, but also the way that like different countries like link click is able to be produced and be, you know, actually put in these conversations, because like for decades we had conversations of is Samurai Champloo anime, is Afro Samurai anime or whatnot, and like the fact that we're to a point now to where whether it's the community or the production being accepting enough to you know, consider this from another country, granted relatively neighboring country, but in the same style, taking the same lessons or whatnot, still consider that anime is a level of the progression that the community has done. As well as oh my god, where are the series I was just thinking of? Damn, I lost it. I fucking lost it. Oh well. But you know, it's great to see the whether it's the community or the production really modernizing in recent years in order to hopefully create better product. One thing that I don't think that we've touched on so far is the actual quality of these shows. Of course, there's a lot of mechanical differences and growths within the industry that we could talk about. You know, lack of filler, going towards more seasonal for direct adaptation. But is that making better shows on average? And we'll just stick with the ones that we've seen, because of course there's garbage from back then that we haven't seen. There's garbage now that we're not watching. But like for you and for your diet, whether it's your favorite genre, your favorite niche or whatnot, have you seen that there are actually better shows, let's say within the past 10 years compared to the past 2 years compared to your first 2 years watching anime?
Ooh, specifying that time frame changes how I was going to answer that.
Like you said, our first 2 years watching anime, like ourselves, type beat.
Your first, yes, your personal first 2 years watching anime compared to the past 2 years of anime.
If for me, for my first 2 years, I would okay, wait a second. Oh my gosh.
Well, you've been watching for 4 years.
Chill on me. Let's relax now. Okay. So, like, are we saying the anime that were coming out during that time, or just from what I saw at that time? Because those are two different things. Okay,
both.
so for the
answer one for both, because I know, like, you know, we came in and then we watched like the classics or the best of the best.
Yeah, but there's the anime that I watched at the time, I would say are better than the ones now, personally. Because for me, when I came in, it was like, okay, I went back to Naruto, which I think Naruto as a classic compared to some of these shonen now, I would take, right? As well as then I go to like Death Note, Full Metal, Code Geass. We're talking just bangers at that point, right? I'm just watching these, like One Punch Man even, I'm taking over something. I mean, y'all hate on One Punch Man, but it is what it is. And even for that, you know, at the time, I know we were talking about it earlier. I'm sure Sam will talk about this as well potentially. But My Hero, I watched pretty early on. One Piece as well, I watched pretty early on. And My Hero, I guess, was one that was coming out at the time. So to kind of shift to that, do I think that the ones that were coming out at the time are better than what we're getting now? I think it's about the same, honestly. Like, I think My Hero compared to like a JJK, I think is a similar tier. I'm probably taking JJK over My Hero, but it's a similar tier, right? I feel like shows like in terms of newer shows that we've even got like a Dandadan, just to think of some like Kaiju number 8, just to think of like some shonen to compare. I feel like are of a similar tier to the ones that were coming out then. But I do think one thing that we said earlier in terms of pacing, we even accelerated past the pacing then, like those like at the time and stuff like that. So I was very much into the shonen and more classic anime route then. So that's kind of what I'm comparing to. But I think in terms of what I was watching, was better. But in terms of what was coming out, I think it's about the same, which was when I really started getting back into like 2019. So yeah, I mean, of course, that year was kind of crazy because that was like Villain Saga year. What else came out that year? I mean, Demon Slayer came out, but
Demon Slayer premiered.
Mob,
I think
Mob might have
Doctor
come out
Stone
that year,
had a season. Mob had definitely had a season.
Yeah, those
Kaguya-sama
years
had
were
a
crazy.
season.
Those years were crazy. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, bless you.
Yeah, that was
One
too.
Punch Man,
Yeah, I was
season
actually
2.
watching that weekly.
Yeah.
That was one of the first anime I watched weekly.
Yeah.
Oh, Promise Neverland for season 1. Yeah,
You know
Promise
what? I'm
Neverland.
not gonna take it back, man. Hey, because like 2019, 2020, 2021, those years were pretty crazy across the board. Maybe 2020, but yeah, honestly, yeah. If I'm remembering correctly, I could be wrong, but I don't want to I want to let everyone get their opinion.
To be fair,
Yeah.
2019 is probably
for
like
sure.
unanimously one of the greatest
Yeah.
years of just like new shows that we've gotten. But for the rest of y'all, first 2 versus the past 2.
But I was like,
What we
hold
do?
on,
What we siding with?
I'm going back. I'm on my anime list. I gotta look up the years, bro. I had to look. I was like, am I 22? I'm sorry, I had to go back. Hold up, wait a minute. I'm going right back.
All right, I'll go then.
12.
It's interesting because in the last, like, they're different eras. Like when I started watching was like the beginning of all these shows that are now just finishing, and like so that's why they're my favorites. Whereas the last couple of years, you know, we're just starting the Kaiju number 8s, the solo levelings, stuff like that, Sakamoto days. Next year, Kagurabachi, like so it's a different time, so it's not the easiest thing to judge. I think right now you're probably going to get a higher percentage of good anime than when I started, but I genuinely don't think there's a huge difference in quality between when I started and now between like the top series. They're all great.
Okay. Which is fair. I'm close to about the same era as River, so 2018. And it sounds like you as well, Sam. 2018, 19.
Like
that
it was
era,
more like
unless
15.
We were a little bit before.
Okay.
Fair. I've gone back and watched them, but I came in, when I was in high school. So like my first few series, Bunny Girl Senpai, My Hero, Kaguya-sama, Demon Slayer. Funny enough, I did not watch
Vinland
Saga
later
in
as well.
2019. Vinland Saga was not. Yeah, I watched it later. But I watched Beastars.
There you go.
It was Eric. Because I was a high schooler with Netflix. Seven Deadly Sins.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right. And then even 2020, once COVID started, I started getting into the weeds. ReZero, Attack on Titan finally caught up. Haikyuu finally caught up. What else came out? Japan Sinks 2020, right? Compared to these past couple years, where the reason why I think it's a little bit fairer for at least like my time period is because like a lot of what we just named were like also season 1s for like new exciting shonen series or whatnot. And the past couple years we got a little bit similar of that, whether it's a Frieren, whether it's a Oshinoko, a Hell's Paradise, Mashal. So I think they're both like relatively transitionary years. to answer the question though, I think the top of the top. I think that the past 2 years have had the best anime. But for me, like Frieren, I think is one of the best things that have come out between any of the years that I could talk about. Oshinoko, for me personally, has been one of the best narratives, etc. Villain Saga season 2, Mushoku Tensei, this past season. I haven't even gotten to Apothecary Diaries yet.
Yeah,
the first 11, yeah, the first 11 episodes of Heavenly Delusion.
Is that all of them?
Yes, I'm excluding. No,
they have
13 episodes.
But you've seen the other two,
there's
right?
There's a reason why I said
you're saying what you like.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, got it. Okay.
Yes.
Bro, it wasn't
exactly between the lines.
Y'all be hating on Heaven too much.
Come on, man. Bro, that shit. Either make it longer or don't. Pause. Jesus. Either make it longer or don't do it at all. Shit, even like the production of something like Dandadan, I think is among the peaks. But in terms of what I was watching, like of course, I came in, I watched Naruto. Because I had to.
Yes, that's your first 2 years or something, man.
There you go.
First year, I should say.
Our first 2 years were so out. Yeah, Boruto, Dragon Ball Super, then Dragon Ball Z, then Naruto. Come on. But to not dance around it though, I do think that the top of the top, the past 2 years have gotten. But honestly, out of everything that I've watched, and partially it's because I've just started to watch more, I do think that there were a higher concentration of higher quality series when I came in. Simply because I think that we were in, of course, the transitionary area where I was saying like a lot of season ones, Dr. Stone season 1, Kaguya-sama season 1, Promised Neverland season 1, Demon Slayer season 1, Villain Saga season 1, Fire Force season 1. Of course, we were in that era, but we also were getting a lot of like remakes, just coincidentally. Fruits Basket, that remake started in 2019, or even just adaptations of like an older series, whether we look at Villain Saga or Dororo. So I think it was just a really good like combination of things that make that unique to when I started watching. But then you get into the isekai craze and how you feel about that. And we've gotten a little bit away from that, but even the thing that we've gone to,
it's so funny though, because shout out to Gigug. I was watching. If you ever want to, Gigug, if you're watching, hi, Gigug. No, shout out to him because I was watching one of his most recent vid, and he was like, "Yeah, like the isekai kind of died down over the past season," and then he's like, "Well, let's see if this continues this season." Then he's like, "Wait, well, they're actually more original." And then no, they're not. There's like 10 more isekai that are not original at all. So it's just crazy. Like,
yeah.
I guess it goes. We have gone away from it, but it's still there. It's in. It may. It's like the.
Yeah.
It may never go away. I don't know.
Just at the bottom.
I think personally, I'm a little different because I was watching anime when I probably shouldn't have been watching anime. I was watching it like 10 and 11 and 12, and I'm going back throughout the years, and I just remember like I was watching High School DxD as it came out, and I was watching like Log Horizon. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, that's chill. That's chill. But no, because like. Yeah, that's true. And I'm just remember, like, I was watching SAO season 2 as it came out, each episode on Toonami, the Rock Lee show. Like, to me, at least, for like watching anime, because my first 2 years are y'all still in the High School DxD. It's crazy.
No, the Rock Lee show.
I'm on the Rock Lee show.
The Rock Lee show is hilarious, bro. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like coming up watching My Heroes Vigilantes. Like,
Rock Lee and his
shout out to
Ninja
Vigilantes,
Pals,
great
bro.
manga,
Come on, man.
Leave this.
Yeah.
That's peak. That's peak right there.
Like, yeah, it is a peak show. If you have not watched the Rock Lee show,
like
please go watch it.
It's like reading Jocko the Policeman. Like, I don't.
If Rock Lee was really the main character,
literally. But no, just like going through like the list of just 2012 to like 2013 and seeing all these shows. It's like, to me, like anime was the gateway of something new. Like the experience of just watching these shows constantly, it exposed me to just Asian cultures in general. Like not outside of anime, like actually trying to learn about their cultures, how they systems work, and seeing how like a lot of these anime series like SAO and Madaka Box, even Food Wars at the time. I shouldn't have been watching it, I ain't gonna lie. But even Food Wars at the time, like seeing these kind of like foundations of like what made later anime series happen. Like a lot of series to me try to copy what SAO has done. Get the black-haired MC going to the game, maybe has a smartphone or something like that. So it was for me, it was like constantly back to back to back. You saw these shows, and I don't know if anybody saw Crunchyroll like 10 years ago, the little ads they used to have. But Crunchyroll now is way different than how they used to be with the ads. Like they'll give you back-to-back ads of all new releases of licenses that they had, and they'll promote it so much, way more than they used to promote it now. So anime to me currently is a little lacking. Not because I don't think all the quality of shows are bad, but it's because I've probably seen like the foundation of what like started these trends early on. So when I see a hidden gem, it's more highlighted to me. But when it's a good show, I still think it's a good show.
So what you're saying is we've kind of just, the trends are just being followed. Like we haven't really got any new trends at the moment.
Yeah. It's like when people say in culture, like, you know, I ain't trying to cuss, but you know the saying that you always say type shit. Like, God forgive me. But like that, because I was talking to my brother, like we finished the podcast, I had mentioned you guys. He was like, oh, your friend said the same thing I said. I'm like, you're 32 years old. What you mean you know about that? He was like,
I mean, where it originates from could be argued is the same kind of age range.
Yeah. So he was like, basically all the trends that y'all said now, little bro.
The big drop.
This is cutting deep as a 33-year-old.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But no, like,
you gotta be mindful of your audience as it.
But no, like,
and I'm 40, so yeah, come on.
Shut the fuck up.
But no, all these trends, like basically, they just get recycled and slightly changed. Like you may tweak a word here and there, but it just comes back to, all the way around. And that's how I personally feel when it comes to some of these anime series. I'm not saying they're bad, but I'm saying, you know, you got a little chocolate donut right there. It's a good donut. If I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat it. But where the sprinkles at? That's what I'm trying to say.
I see what you saying. I see what you saying. Now,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Now
I don't.
Oh my gosh. We may actually. I want to get you guys thoughts on this too, because
hey, what's up?
Yeah, what up, Buck? What up? There may be new at least one new trend I could think of coming to light, and maybe more. But we have seen, you know, from Frieren, you know, kind of in Dungeon Meshi, there's kind of a fantasy anime boom outside of isekai, more so of a, you know, somewhat classical fantasy mixed with kind of new elements. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, with Dungeon Meshi, you had the food, and then you had the kind of dark tones that were kind of invented into the show, and then Frieren more of the, you know, kind of like she's almost immortal, the end of the journey, kind of going through those kind of themes. So, and then there's also other fantasy coming out as well. So maybe there are new trends starting to form, but I think right now, as to Az's point, I want to get y'all thoughts on the new trends and stuff like that. But just to finish this point,
I thought you were gonna.
What agenda?
Thought you were gonna push your agenda in that.
Oh, yeah, the peak. Yeah, my fault. The peak of all anime. I just didn't even mention Mashal because it's a trend on its own. So that's like a whole separate trend. Is Mashal.
You haven't seen season 2.
But yeah, bro. Just to finish what I was saying. Just to finish, like with Az's point, we may still be in these trends may be coming to an end now. So like, yes, like we're still in the isekai trend, but it's slowing down. We're still in, you know, the certain battle shonen trend of the heavily paced series, just starting to go more down that route, whatever. Just the similar things that we've seen a lot of times, right? But I think we are maybe starting to see new things. What do you guys think about that as a whole?
My bad. Anybody want to go first? I don't want to hold anybody.
Go for it.
No, like I personally feel like this is like now the age of creativity. That's how I feel with anime, because I think we said this. I definitely said this earlier, but I think somebody pointed it out with like something else, like other series like Doctor Stone. I think it was Cardiac, but like how I was saying earlier with Solo Leveling. Like I feel like now Japan, or at least the Shonen era, but most anime that's in Japan, I feel like they're finally at like a limit to where they just don't know what to do, and that's why we see a lot of like, what is it? The Sixth Son has returned isekai type of thing, like all those generic anime series, and they're finally listening to other cultures and other people's perspectives in anime and manga, like Korea, China with like the King's Avatar. It's one of the most popular anime series, and it's still getting. It got a Netflix live action movie and show outside of the anime, and then even like how Japanese culture, they're like opening up their manga exhibits to Americans. Like they had the 110 Zaku manga event, and it was like, hey, even anybody from any country, if you make a good series and we approve it, we may get you an anime deal, or we may just continue your manga series. So I feel like now they're opening. Yeah. So I feel like now they're opening up the doors of a lot of stuff, because they realize if we just keep stuff the same way and keep all these basic trends, it's not going to work. Like some people don't like Dragon Ball Dynamo. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying some people don't like it because they've seen all of this stuff already from. Yeah. So that's how I feel personally. I was trying to keep a straight face.
Y'all is stupid, bro. Y'all is stupid. I can agree. I will say that I'll give the general scene a little bit more credit. I do think that we've seen a little bit more innovation than like as it may give the industry credit for it. Like even in Shonen specifically, we've seen the shift away from like Paragon protagonists, like what we talked about on a previous pod, and more towards this moral ambiguity
and more
of
dark
characters
tones
that's starting to draw the attention of audiences. Darker tones in general, just a little bit more edge, I guess you could say. Part of that reflects, the culture of younger people shifting. But also part of that, I think, is just like delving into different parts of storytelling. But to the fantasy point, I do think that.
I don't even know what you said.
No, I said, yeah, we edging it.
Oh my god.
You see, look at you. What's it called? To the fantasy point, I think that we are entering that, right? I think that the series that we would all point to as, potentially being the pioneers of a new shift of what the meta is, what the top of the industry is, or even just what gets overly massively produced, is starting like now. Like Frieren, although being in publication for a while, like its impact is being seen now. The prominence that specifically the fantasy aspects of like Shangri-La Frontier, even Mushoku Tensei, if you want to say, with it finally getting its adaptation, Delicious in Dungeon, could throw Dandadan in there, but like even like a ReZero, the prominence that it has or whatnot, I think it is starting to be seen now. And I think that for the foreseeable future, we're going to see a lot of series like a Wistoria. We're going to see a lot of Wistoria. Just in terms of like this relatively generic looking, not saying that the show is generic, but in terms of its appeal, in terms of its look, I think we're going to see a lot of series like that in the future. But I think it's starting now. I think the shift is like a 2023, 2024 shift, and we'll start to see those series get picked up for adaptations
Shangri-La Frontier,
next few years or whatnot.
My fault, I was looking at chat.
Yeah,
that took me a second. I was trying to think. I was like SLF. Shangri-La. I think that's Shangri-La Frontier.
I've never seen that. But also, I'm not in.
I heard it's actually really.
Shangri-La
I heard the manga's really good too. I was talking to shout out to Timmy. I was talking to him about it. He said that was one of the ones that he thinks is pretty good. So I'm gonna have to. Yeah,
it just ain't for me. That shit look weird. I'm sorry.
But what you call it? Sam, what do you think of the like new trends? Kind of coming into the anime sphere and stuff like that.
I mean, I agree with what you guys have been saying about like. This is kind of the start, I think. We're going to see a lot of Frieren copycats going forward. Like, that's the one that started this, what I assume is going to be a new fantasy boom. The other thing that actually kind of ties back to something Cardiac said in a different pod was how like Chainsaw Man has had a really big impact on storytelling. I think something like that and like Dandadan or Dandadan, the unconventional storytelling, I think that's becoming more common too, where you're like, how the hell did we get here? Or like, wait, did that just happen? Like right away. And these things where the story goes in a way you would never expect it to go. I think there's going to be a lot more of that.
Like
too.
shock factor kind of thing. Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like I don't even really know how to explain it that well, but
The quirkiness.
Exactly. The quirkiness of it, where you're like, oh, well, this and this don't normally happen in the same series, and they're happening in the first 5 minutes now.
Yeah. That definitely, and shout out to, because look, they be hating on me whenever I try to give Chainsaw Man some type of credit. Mind you, I'm coming from the perspective of a manga reader, but like whenever I try to give Chainsaw Man some credit, I'm like, that garbage ass, that mid ass shit, me, bro. Like I'm telling you what I know, but like you're right in terms of series. Stop. in terms of series embracing like the weirdness, the quirkiness, the getting into the strange, getting into the why did Siri turn on? I'm sorry. But getting into these elements of it that are like you said, unconventional or uncanny from the jump to like basically be the weird kid in school, essentially. Like that is starting already, and I think we're gonna see a little bit more of it as well with the things that are gonna get adapted in the next few years. But that's definitely a shift to look forward to.
I guess Cardiac, you are probably. I guess Cardiac. I don't know how much Sam is into the manga sphere, but just in terms of like a manga, more so a manga reader. I know Isaac kind of has some knowledge on that too. Like, is it still kind of going down that way? I guess in terms of what anime we're going to be getting. Obviously, Kagurabachi, I've kind of heard has some elements, but where are we kind of at in that perspective?
Like, it's kind of going back to what Cardia said earlier for me. Like we're seeing a lot of new styles, like from all the anime that he mentioned earlier, like more darker tones with their MCs versus just being a regular Paragon. That's how I personally see, especially even with like just the shonen genre itself. They're trying all these new styles to make their protagonists more unique. I feel like it actually started back with Promised Neverland to me because I read the manga. Because that's how I personally like. To me, it was just such a big shock that.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about there, buddy.
Getting put on blast.
Goon Man Peak, yeah. But it's just such a big shock. So I feel like even with Kagurabachi, they still take the references in what made these series like special to them. Like how when Black Clover and I guess Kagurabachi, it's another series that's sword based. They took inspiration from Bleach. Like you see now, instead of it being like back in the 90s and 80s, it's more of like the mid 2000s and up that some of these series are taking inspirations to. And I feel like they're trying to craft new stories based on that with these unique protagonists.
Okay.
Like, like we see Gon want to kill people towards the end of the series. But now you see, what if you have a protagonist like Kagurabachi that's like, hey, I want to do this from the first chapter. Like, it puts you in perspective, like why or how.
Yeah, and that's especially in shonen. That is the thing. Like the past few years, series that have like had these interesting protagonists or out of the box protagonists in the shonen demographic that have like really done whatever. Sakamoto Days, of course, is finally getting its adaptation with a unique, relatively unique. I mean, there's definitely some Gintama sprinkles, but even something like Kindergarten Wars. The way that those MCs and interact and like the age group or whatnot. There's another one. There's this panel that I've seen where it's like these two kids with guns. First off, American as fuck, like on the opposite side of a tree, like shooting at each other. I've wanted to know the name of that so bad, but even beyond that series, Ruri Dragon saw amazing success. Like, and got the opportunity of a lifetime from Jump to release 6 chapters, and then was on hiatus for like a year and a half. main character is a dragon, a teenage dragon, half dragon, and it's a slice of life. Like, and that's it.
Cool.
That's it. And it's just like, we wouldn't see that in 2010. We would not see that. But like the quirkiness of like basically watching this character, this teenager just go about life as this hybrid, this human dragon hybrid or whatnot, that is like very grounded, very like childlike in terms of, you know, its appeal. Like it truly fits the shonen demographic and isn't like trying to be edgy. It's mature, it's relatively mature, but like it is a coming of age story. And like that's something that I don't know if in 2012's Weekly Shonen Jump lineup it would have got the axe. Like, and mind you, this is a lineup that I'm referring to with like Food Wars coming out, Haikyuu coming out, Naruto coming out, or whatnot. But it was just a different era of shonen. And so now, doubling down on what Azza and Sam said, it is an era of embracing what are you going to do to make you look different. Now, there's still room for the Kagurabachi, which is, for all intents and purposes, a swordman series. Like it is the swordman series that looks cool with good art and great fights.
Wait, Sam, how do you feel about that?
Which part?
You're right. And hello, Alex.
That was a nice manga.
Alex, how do you feel about all of that? Let me stop.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know what's going on. I was gonna. Well.
Oh, we're just talking about like how do you think the manga scene has changed, adapted, and whatnot. I was talking about I was going off Sam's point of talking about how series are trying to find what's unique or whatnot, while still having a very slim lane of like you can do this traditional thing that, you know, if you do it at the top of the top, then you'll stay around.
So what were you gonna say? I didn't want to
success.
like take it off what you about to go.
Come on, me.
Man, to be honest, I'm not really I haven't dove deep into the manga sphere. So like, I'm not educated enough to really go one way or the other on that. I do think to Azid's point earlier, that one of the things that's cool is that they're clearly pulling from way more sources than they used to, like the Korean and Chinese series. So just because you're pulling from more sources, you're bound to find more creativity because you're opening yourself up to all sorts of different types of storytelling.
Like New Horizons, you could say. And Cardiac, speaking of Horizons, that manga that you were talking about is called Horizon, The Horizon. Yeah, I found it.
Oh, that's Horizon.
Because, bro, when you said it, I was like, I gotta know what it's called too. So I went on the research.
I would say that panel is fire as hell.
Yeah,
you
I
have the
do.
panel pulled
I
up?
do.
Because I'll pull it up in the
I can.
background
Hold
if
on.
not.
Let me
Yo. It like no context, just seeing on the timeline, like it takes a lot. I see a lot of dumbass
right
shit
here.
on my timeline.
Y'all see it?
It takes a lot for me to stop and be like, I have to read this. I have to find out what this is.
That's
Yes.
that's so American.
This shit.
That's so American.
Oh, I've seen this panel. I know what this manga's from.
Yes.
I want to read
I need
it.
to read this. Like, cause why are they doing
don't
this?
know. That's a
Why
good
does he have a
question.
Uzi?
It says
Isn't
it
this like
started.
about,
It started in.
child, like,
It concluded. I got my fault. I was what you saying.
No, you can go. Sorry, I cut you off.
Are you good? It concluded in 2021. It started in 2016 and it ended in 2021. So it's over now. It's a webtoon. Type beat.
That reminds me of Dog Negan. No,
Dog nigga.
that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what the series
He actually
is.
changed the name. He actually changed the name. It used to be called that.
Because he got bullied. That's
It used to
why.
be called
Crazy
that,
ass
but I was
series.
Dog Negan. But if you buy the copy, it still say what Cardiac said.
Wait, what? Like the first
Yeah,
few
still-
copies say that, or
Dog
what?
nigga,
Or
like,
all
I
of them?
don't-
Yeah, they still say
All
it.
of them? Dang, that's crazy.
If you go on Twitter, he still got it like pinned. as
Oh,
the title.
okay. But I guess for publication purposes, they was like, yeah, you know what? You might gotta change that. I ain't gonna lie. or something like that.
Man, they
Is
got
there?
a series titled "Fuck." I don't want to hear it.
But no, but
Yeah,
yeah,
or like the play on words where it's
Oh.
like PHUCK.
they do got a
come on
series
now.
that is called that, but they got like a little what is that little act?
Okay, yeah, I
or
definitely
dialogue.
did not.
Yeah.
When I searched that, that is not what came up. It took me down a different route when I looked that up. So
It's time to
I
do
don't
some
know what y'all
research.
talking about, but
Uh,
that's
crazy.
Anime.
I mean, that is anime.
Yeah,
This
if you-
is different kind
Alright.
of anime.
Right now, if you do type up dog in the word and the first readmanga.org, it actually shows it, but then it shows Negan, and then it goes right back to the other
Yeah.
word again. So,
Now, did
both
that? Okay, yeah, I know we got to go back, but I was gonna say that manga could have started a
sorry.
trend. Really, like maybe that's where we got other things from.
Do
Yeah,
you know what
I know
happened
what
in the
happens
first
in the
chapter of this
chapter. I know what happens in the chapter. How the dude, he's trying to go back and something with his dad. Yeah, I know about it. If you know, you know. I ain't gonna go into it, but that's crazy. But yeah, nah, I don't know. Maybe that's where the shock factor started from, because that's a pretty shock factor thing. The overarching point of the manga is crazy.
I'm sorry, Sam. Which part do you want to join me?
Oh my-
I'm sorry. I apologize for making a dive. into this.
He's gonna write an email saying, "I don't want to be in the
Works.
next pod, guys. Sorry."
No, I was just. I was about
we've
to
had
say,
in-depth convos about
Oh
this.
my
before.
god.
how do you, how do you feel about the transition?
It's not
If you can feel it from like manga to anime or just anime in general.
It.
I'm sorry.
That alley is crazy. You gotta throw it on the pass.
Totally scrambled my brain. I don't know.
Pass is insane.
Hey, you know what? I don't blame you, man.
I'm sorry.
I
Let
do not
me
blame
stay
you.
off these topics with these words.
I'll man, side tangent or maybe future maybe topic. I was looking through the current lineup of Weekly Shonen Jump and seeing which of these protagonists would be, what we would consider to be traditional protagonists or traditional series. And even within, mind you, this is the most popular like comic book magazine in the entire world. But even within here, you still have a spot for like, there's this delinquent manga written by the mangaka of Tokyo Revengers, right? Astro Royale, that's seen success. There's of course Kagurabachi. And you still have like a news exorcist, it's just an exorcist series. It's just filling the hole that JJK left. What's it called? But you also have something like Kill Blue, which is this like assassin who who gets sent back as a middle schooler and has to marry somebody while protecting somebody, and it's a play on that. And like the point is that like the thing essentially, to be honest with you, for at least from the chapters I've read, the point that I'm making is that like one of the things that I do think, and we could stretch it beyond probably like to 2020, 2019, the thing that makes a lot of newer series better goes back to what, as I said, of just creativity. The restraints and the holes that you need to fill that are so stringent of, we need this type of story, we need the sports story, we need the whatever story. Even the sports representation in Shonen Jump right now is Blue Box. And that series, like as a manga reader, the last like 50 chapters, shit is not a sports series. let me tell you. But like it's the freedom that the industry has grown to, been forced to grow to because of the mangaka, because of the increased exposure, because of the popularity of anime, that have led Super Psychic Policeman Chojo to be in the magazine for over a year now. that wouldn't have happened 20 years ago, potentially. That allows Ruri Dragon to exist next to Hunter x Hunter, next to One Piece, next to Blue Box. And I think personally it's made anime better than like the 2000s era, because like do y'all think that we would have gotten a Food Wars next to a Dr. Stone, next to a Promised Neverland, next to a My
I
Hero
guess
Academia?
the difference, the
like
variety is higher
20 years ago.
Say.
Yeah. And like that does a lot in terms of just providing unique experiences, because like anime isn't just like one thing anymore. You know, and it's never been, but like in people's like it's more known that like, okay, anime isn't just Beastars. It's also not just Dragon Ball. And it's not just High School DxD. Like, and I think that has gone a long way in like decentralizing the idea that like this shit is weird, but it's also gone a long way of making a lot of stories better.
And that I feel like that goes back into what we had mentioned earlier, and like it's kind of helped anime become more mainstream, because now really you can with pretty, I would honestly say 100% certainty, every single person can find an anime out there for them. I don't think there's anyone who you can sit down and be like, if they actually like watching anything at all, you know what I'm saying, they are going to be able to find an anime with that genre that they're going to be able to enjoy. It doesn't have to be, okay, they gotta watch Battle Shonen. It doesn't have to be, okay, you gotta watch sports series, or you gotta watch some weird shit, right? It's gonna be, boom, you can watch whatever you want to watch. You know what I'm saying? There is everything. You got the science, Battle Shonen, Dr. Stone, whatever you want to call it, right? You got like Cardiac said, you got Food Wars, you got your classic, you know, hero, more so ML My Hero. There's so many different options, you know, even now with the Frieren, with the fantasy aspects, with romance and sports, you got with Blue Box. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different options now. It's like it's made it much more easier to get into. Yeah.
Kai is pulling 83K playing.
But I know Alex ain't got to talk.
What
are Alex? What are you thinking about that?
Hey Sam, how's it going? My name is Alex. I didn't get to introduce myself. I'm the guy who's the marketing guy, emailing you.
Yeah, we've been emailing back
Yes,
and
sir.
forth.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Man, don't fuck with my name, bro. Come on, bro. Fucking Littlest Gang.
Littlest
the
Gang.
one with the smile.
I would have spelled Littlest right.
I think overall.
You don't read. You know what?
He's like, what is a book, guys? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I'm not even that big of a Dragon Ball fan either, so you can't even say it's because of that. They say Dragon Ball fans don't read. That's what they say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what they say.
That's
what Dragon Ball haters say. We can't read. That's what.
That's what Mr. Dragon Ball says too. So I don't know.
Mr. Dragon Ball.
Please stop.
So what is the question you want to ask?
Yeah. What the fuck was I talking about? What are your thoughts on series expanding and kind of even you can include your opinion on, do you think anime are getting better, but more so on expanding and there's more variety now than there ever was before?
There's a bunch of variety of different animes and mangas now. I think it's with everybody have the ability to create new stories and having the ability to get their stuff published. There's always going to be something new coming arise, and I think it's become easier to create anime and manga. I don't think there's like little difficulties anymore. I think if you have a story you really want to go with, and you think you're really good at it, you probably can make a manga and eventually like see how it goes, and then from there on, let's see if we can get animated afterwards. Mm-hmm. But I think it's much easier. But I think overall we're gonna get different genres, different stories told, and I think that we're always gonna get something new that people are gonna get hooked on. So, yeah,
that's valid. And what about you, Sam? What are you thinking on that front? That may be an easier lob than what Isaac gave you earlier. I hope.
You know, No, what is dog food? Nah, I'm playing.
No.
Let's keep it going.
Man.
Let's keep
No,
going.
it's never been the barrier for entry it's never been easier to create than it is now. I mean, you've got YouTubers with 20 million subs making their own manga. You have me struggling to make my own manga. Like
Were you working on
all
one, really?
sorts of
That's sick. That's awesome.
Yeah. But
That's great, man.
it's never been easier to get eyes on the product. So just having more people put stuff out is naturally going to lead to more creativity. It's kind of like what we were talking about before with when you're pulling from different regions of the world. So.
No, for sure, for sure. And now it's almost like everywhere has their own, manga. Even with manga being so much more popular, but again, manga's been out for a while. Now you have, I've heard, shout out to a couple guys we've had on the pod. I remember TR specifically in terms of like there, and obviously Sam even now talking about how he's working on his own manga and stuff like that. We have a few other people we know that are trying to get manga started. The American manga scene, even we just mentioned Corey Kitchen. I know you were talking about him probably. Like there's even here we have so many people trying to create manga, trying to go down that path. And I think once that's going to be a crazy boom. Once obviously if Corey's able to maybe be the one that gets an anime out of his manga eventually, right? Or whoever is like some of the first people that are really starting to get these anime from their own, creating a manga here and stuff like that. That's gonna really, take a crazy. I think that might be one of the next biggest booms that we get because I mean I've been hearing a lot about people trying to do that. So once there's anime coming from America, even that's gonna be the U.S. even that's gonna be crazy, as well as all these other places that are already starting to have that happen. So. No, for sure. That's gonna be something.
But
yeah, and as
I was about to say, Yoruzu just made a comment. They said also love the fact that anime is forcing American cartoons to step up their game as well.
Wait, I didn't even say as it working on one too. What am I didn't even say as it, man. Come on, my fault, as it.
Disrespect.
Yeah, he's the director of animography.
What does that word even mean?
It is not. Yes, sir.
It's not a real word. But as people making their own manga or whatnot, how have y'all? And I'm assuming you've wanted to for a long time, whether it was just a pipe dream previously or just something that you really didn't see yourself doing until you started doing it. How have your approaches to the things that you want to write about, the stories that you have in your mind changed as you have watched more anime or as we've seen the changes in the industry or the changes in series like we've talked about today?
Is that for me?
Oh, both you and as
Sam, you can,
up and coming mangaka.
Honestly, it's more so in like the more I watch stuff, the more I go, God, I wish I had thought of that. Or like, or maybe how would be a cool way to implement something similar to the story I'd like to tell. Like when you start writing a story and then, if you have it planned out, like for me, I have like 6 arcs vaguely planned out in my mind. And like, it's just like this long general outline. But when I started it until now, which is, I don't know, about 3 years or so in terms of just like brainstorming and plotting elements out. Completely different because of, like what you said, the more anime you watch, you just notice different things, especially when you're actually writing a story yourself. You're like, oh, why did this work for this anime? And you try to like almost reverse engineer how such a cool moment could happen in a series, like with Frieren, with the Aura scene. Why is it so cool for her to basically say, "Kill yourself," and like, and then reverse engineering that and trying to figure out where it starts. So that's what it's been like for me, at least.
That's amazing. because that's a similar process to me. I'm hoping to be a screenwriter, and I'm starting to actually transition from script writing for like YouTube videos and whatnot to screenwriting, and so it's a similar process that I have of like, you know, like you said, reverse engineering the things that you find as like cool or effective, and realizing, okay, what is it that make people like this? Why do people like the twists of the big bad? Why do people like the Scooby-Doo Who's Under the Mask? Why does J.J. Abrams's mystery box work here, but it doesn't work here?
Yeah,
like
I think that part,
analyzing what
that
really
part in particular, like, why do I care about this character but not this one? Like, to the mystery box point, that's something that's been really fascinating to try and dive into.
Amazing. That's amazing. Is it a similar thing for you, or is it more so like something else that has driven your writing process or your thought process behind making your series?
I haven't. No, it's basically similar for me. I haven't wrote anything in a while. I've been more like ideas and things that come naturally. Like you get different inspirations, I say, throughout the years. Like you'll start something and you'll be like, you know what? Maybe it's not as good, or something just became really popular, and you're like, okay, I can't add that anymore because now it's just going to seem like a copy and paste. So it's like going back to the drawing board and then getting inspired with new stuff and trying to be more innovative enough where it doesn't feel like you're copying something else while you also are making that. Because everybody has similar ideas, but how can you make them more unique and fresh? So for me, it's like kind of basically what Sam had basically said, like different things of that nature. And then also trying to, I say the best way is when you have something that you really enjoy, but you don't believe your audience will understand it, because as a writer, you instantly will understand it because you're writing it. But like sometimes if people don't understand it right away, then you automatically lose them. And then how can you make it so where like you hold their attention until you reveal that? So it's also like a back and forth, because unless you have like a mock trial, you generally don't know if they're going to receive it well. And so it's kind of that fear.
Because you can only press publish one time.
And once it's out there, it's out there for the rest.
It's a great point, because like when you're writing something, like you said, you automatically understand it. And sometimes you're like, is this subtle enough or too subtle of a detail for them to catch the point or miss it? And it's a really important line you have to straddle. It's tough.
Yeah, because and as someone who's been like reading more screenplays and then like coming up with my own ideas and whatnot, the ultimate story that I've always like set aside for like when I get good, when I get a budget, when I actually have these things at my disposal, is basically a fantasy setting, a fantastical setting, but like essentially genre bending. You know how Star Wars combines like sci-fi, of course, but with like spaghetti western visuals and placements and locations and whatnot, and even themes. I want to combine elements of fantasy with pure western or whatnot, and basically like tell a story throughout time of a fantasy retelling of how America was founded as a country, like with the same types of betrayals, with the same types of wars, with the same types of building of a new government that no one's seen, propaganda, etc. The different, America going out on a limb for like the New Deal or for NATO or for whatever, these things that like basically are foreign to the existing world, with the atrocities. And the thing that I have always like been fascinated with the idea of is how many people are going to say this is unrealistic and this would never happen. How many people are going to recognize it and say it's too on the nose, and then how many people are going to call me a genius for it? Because those three prominent like ideas is in the mind of every writer, and it's in the mind of, like you were talking about, of balancing subtext and what's really in the foreground. Use it. They're gonna call you woke off rip. Yeah. But like, even beyond the labeling of it all, it's something that you really will always, I've learned, struggle with in terms of writing until you press publish. You know, or until you get a second opinion, or until you see it done in a way that you like truly want to replicate, which is beautiful, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, nah, my fault. I do gotta go. I gotta go to this tryout. But I just wanted to say I've been listening to the convo, and it's been super interesting. And definitely Sam too. Definitely whenever you get to that manga, definitely make sure to send it. Why? Okay, I just saw my name. Definitely like send it our way, because I'm curious to see like what do you end up
For sure, chapter
Hey,
one
let's go.
dropping
Awesome.
Okay.
And also quick couple other things.
Hey.
Just in case, I'm usually the one that does it. Make sure y'all go check out Sam's channel too. Gallenberger one will be in the title and stuff like that, like featuring. So click on it. I saw. Hey, you were popping off a little bit lately.
Absolutely.
I seen some of the vids doing some good views. So shout out to you for that. For real. Keep doing good work. And
Appreciate
no
it.
problem.
And 99% of the time, people get my name wrong when they
Let's
say
go!
it. You got it right. So there we go.
Success. And last plug before I go, I want to make sure I got off. If y'all are watching on YouTube or Twitch, make sure to join the Discord as well. We're trying to get that back jumping. Someone should send a link to Sam too if you want to join. We chop it up in there too. So yeah, make sure to join that and stuff like that. So we greatly appreciate it. We're gonna try to get that up and running. Everyone who's watching, and even Sam if you want to join. But yeah, that's all for me. Great convo, guys, for real. And stuff like that. I'll catch you later.
Listen, I seen a couple of your videos before I knew you.
Sam's channel?
Yeah, I'm going back because I was watching him when
Yeah.
Danmachi was coming out earlier this year.
Oh,
Yeah, and I was like, who is this? I was like, who is this dude? I was like, I like it. No, I thought it was
you
a
don't have
different
to
channel.
lie. You don't have to lie.
No,
on camera.
no,
You can
no.
be like, dude, this dude's trash.
No, because I like Danmachi
What?
because season 5.
Dude, season 5 is awesome.
Because I watched a video right after the Freya thing, and I was like,
Oh,
okay. I was like, he got the same opinion that I have.
there we go. Great
I'm a
minds
big
think
Danmachi
alike.
fan. Yes.
I had started studying your channel mostly because of your thumbnail consistency and style and whatnot. Like you've really nailed the who would I say started it? Maybe not started it, but I know oh my god.
I was about to say Global.
Fuck.
It's not. GIUKK. I know you're talking about. I think.
No, not Giga.
Oh, not Giga?
No, it's not Giga. It's he recently just came back. Oh shit, a Heavenly Controller video. Oh my god. And he just made a video on like responding to criticism and shit. Scamboli. Scamboli's what's it called? Style of like single subject, close in frame. He's kind of changed it recently, but like he's especially playing around with like FOV in the background and whatnot. I've really appreciated how you've like mastered that style. Not saying you were inspired by him in any way. It might just be coincidence, but like that style I really fuck with because it's very effective, and I'm happy that you're seeing like the rewards from that.
I'm glad you like it because every time I try to pivot from it, it doesn't work. So it's almost become somewhat of a crutch. It's like, okay, this didn't work. I have to go back to that because that's what the audience expects.
Yeah, it's the balance of delivering a product that people are going to continuously click on, but also wanting to try new things. But I mean, shit. Sometimes you got to take the 10 out of 10 a few times, or the sub 5% CTR for a minute.
For sure. Well, I mean, it kind of goes back to you guys had a really cool conversation with I think it was Broken Ronin on a podcast about like the YouTuber landscape and like how he's a JJK guy, but like you can pivot. And I was listening to that and it was so interesting because I'm not really an anything guy. If you look, I've covered so many different anime.
Yes.
Like, I've covered at least 30, if not 40.
Oh,
different
yeah,
ones.
I'll say way more than that. Gotta give
I mean, I guess like if you were to pick one, it's probably a fairy tale is like the core base. But so just listening to you guys talk about that was really fascinating because the way he did it, going JJK so much, you grow so much faster doing that. But But you have to, like, kind of what you said. If you're a creator and you want to create, you have to do stuff you like. So that's kind of always been my approach to it.
Yeah, and I really admire that because, like you said, latching yourself onto a singular series or a singular entity, it's definitely way easier. Got a ban. Definitely way easier to
Nice.
grow through that because you kind of inherit that existing community or whatnot. But like to come out the gate and okay, I'm gonna cover this, I'm gonna cover this, I'm gonna cover this, and taking the 2K video with the 300K video, the 5K video with the 40K video, like that is definitely something that like is rare to see and like to find success. And I am really happy to see as like someone who's just a fan of the community that you are let alone like the difference in video length, like that's rare to find just in like all of YouTube, to like be able to see success with the 4-minute video, but also the 20, also the 15, also the whatever. So I commend you on that for real.
I appreciate it.
For sure. But Alex, from your perspective, us coming from and us transitioning to more of like a creative's point of view or whatnot, I don't know how much forte you've expressed or you've experienced of like trying to really like go headfirst in like creating or looking from a creator's perspective, but either your history with that or from a viewer's perspective and from a consumer's perspective, how do you see the war between whether we were talking about earlier, like subtext, like something being too buried underneath or brought to the forefront, or like what we were just talking about with like anime YouTube and how things have changed in terms of what videos that you want to watch and what series you want to see covered or whatnot.
It matters what I like though. Like, say if somebody covers Invincible, Amazon Prime, if anybody's watching it, really good show. The whole
Amazing
direction on the show and characters have gone well. I think season 3, I think season 2 to 3 have really kicked off more, and I think the characters are being shown better, growing as characters, and that's the things I like to see. Like the writers, the who write the show, we already know who it's the guy who writes Walking Dead and etc. We see the characters grow, and I think that's one of the points I really like about that. And if it's covered, like explaining why certain characters do certain things, and there's like background information about like, oh, we're gonna pull it from the comic and explain why he's this certain way, and then why the writers grab that information and like use it for the show. Overall, I
Alex,
think
River said you're a little quiet
a little quiet.
on
Is it?
Twitch. Yeah, on Twitch.
Okay, I mean, raise it up. My bad. How's that better now? It sound better?
You good? Oh yeah, you good.
Who said that, River?
Yeah.
Of course he is. He's always around. He never lets us have fun. That's what it is.
Nigga say you're.
This guy said year, but yeah, overall, it matters how the show is and how like the writers like take the information they're given, and like, all right, I'm gonna grow this character throughout the show, and I'm actually do it well enough where that you can follow as the audience following. Like, all right, throughout the season 2 and 3, we see that Mark's trying to get better with his powers and instead of holding back, and we see that, and you see his relationship with Amber, and you switch to Eve, and then we see the grow on Amber's character, which is season 1's character wasn't the best, but as season 2 or 3 hit, everybody understood her a little bit better, and that the perspectives were there. And anybody who covers that, like YouTube wise, it's great because I get a better understanding of the show, and a better understanding of myself, the characters overall. So the landscape on that is that if a show is covered really well on YouTube, it's gonna be really, really gonna be like really there for me, you know.
Understandable. Would any of y'all say that the writing aspect of these shows anime wise has increased, or is that something that's like consistent throughout time? Whether it's in terms of layering subtext, whether it's in terms of character writing, even fight writing, or we're dealing with a visual medium in manga as well, so fight choreography and all of that. Would we say that like the writing has gotten better in terms of these stories that are coming out now?
Wait, Sam, how do you feel about it?
I think maybe like the baseline is a little higher. Again, like it's all these conversations are tough because 30 years ago when some of these things are coming out, that's the only version of that story.
Yeah.
And that's very creative and going into this element and this element and this element, like Dragon Ball or like Cowboy Bebop, Rurouni Kenshin. They're doing all these very different things. And like nowadays, you have the advantage, almost like in basketball. Like you see a more skilled individual player now today. Like 30 years ago, you would never see a center shooting 10 threes a game.
Yeah.
Like you're just building on the knowledge of previous generations. So it's really tough because what's more impressive, using all the available information we have today to create stuff that has never been done before, or being one of the first to kickstart and influence so much stuff that comes later. It's very difficult for me to say one is better than the other.
And that's fair.
Yeah,
that's definitely fair.
I have a contest.
The grandfather clause.
What did you say?
I have an example also that can go with that. Like for me, I firmly believe you don't need to go to school for certain things. You can learn on your own because the internet's wide enough. I feel like if you want to go to film school to get the bearings, but you could always go to just learn from the internet. And then if you look at the history about it, the person who wrote The Godfather didn't go to school for writing The Godfather. And then when he wanted to learn how to write The Godfather, somebody told him to use his own example. So I really believe that manga or anime can actually be used off of. Like you don't really need. It'd be cool like if you made something on your own and learned on your own, but it's much easier to like look at examples now. But yeah.
That's fair. History is always a great teacher, especially when built upon it in the same industry. As it, your takeaway on it?
I think it's this, just to piggyback off Sam and Alex, it's the same thing with me. It's like how 30 years ago, the same way Sam was comparing with basketball. 30 years ago, like the quickest time to do a mile was like 5 minutes, and now the quickest time to do a mile now is like 45 seconds, quick sprint. So it's just like the comparison throughout the years is always going to keep improving. What?
45 seconds to do a mile is crazy.
Like you saying,
I get the point.
Yeah. I'm saying like you saying both, like Olympic level athletes is possible now.
A mile?
Yeah, I'm being dead serious.
He cannot run a mile in 45 seconds. You gotta stop. You gotta stop.
The fastest mile time in the world. I'm being so serious. 3.40.
Come on.
I thought he was talking about pace, not.
Yeah, I meant pace, but
okay.
But no, my bad. My bad. 3 minutes and 43 seconds. That's what I was trying to reference.
Okay,
yeah,
that's what I was trying to reference. Go like 45. My bad. 3 minutes. But no, like the quickest mile used to be like, what is it, like 6 minutes back in the day?
Yeah.
And now it's 3 minutes. So it's like just the improvements over time. Everybody want to get that half of a millisecond off, and then a full second, and then they're trying to go lower and lower and lower.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically the comparison. I feel like now the standard for anime for everybody is just too high. Like the internet nowadays, it used to be like, okay, you make a show, and over a period of time, you see how people tune in on TV. Now it's like you have a show, and you see how many sales you have, or you see is it like doing something controversial on the internet, like Invincible. Like, see, what is it? They made an episode referencing how all the fans in season 2 was going to react to like the later episodes not coming back out until like half a year later. And now in season 3, there's like, yeah, we're gonna make sure we have no breaks in between for everybody. Like they understand it. It will destroy their series now. They did it twice.
Yeah.
So it not only like I do feel like it limits you, but it also shows just how well you have to make an equality, and you can't just throw something out if you just think it's just going to be okay. You have to throw it out knowing that you think it is the best. So it's a two-edged sword to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree with the point of gauging impressiveness or quality or how much credit you can get from essentially being a pioneer working from zero. Sticking to the basketball example. By the way, does anyone here watch Michael McKelvey?
No, I feel like I know who that is.
That guy's doing this thing. When it comes to sports analysis and like that type.
What is the YouTuber?
Especially with the evolution talk.
What is he on? ESPN, YouTuber?
No, he's a YouTuber.
Okay, I have not.
He's a YouTuber. Just amazing graph work, amazing analysis work, psychology, science, evolution, etc. Nevertheless, sticking to the basketball example though, like Bill Russell, jumping for rebounds, like just the pioneering of these now foundational aspects of how to play the game or how to make a series or how to write. But somebody had to come up with the hero's journey. Somebody had to write 1,000 Faces. Does it make Joseph Campbell any less of a storyteller? The fact that he connected this now very foundational aspect of how to write a protagonist, but like, is he any worse of a storyteller than George R.R. Martin? No, but to an extent though, I do think that getting to your point of actually how we started the episode with you talking about anime becoming more efficient. I think that with that, generation over generation over generation, building on each other's whatever, inherently that evolution of working with more data, working with more exposure, working with whatever does do a job of better fine tuning and making a better product of writing. Now, to answer that, I still don't think modern series have better writing, because I would argue that some of the trends that have been employed to create more effective series, more efficient series, series that are at least an adaptation more reliant on the quality of animation or whatever. I think that has taken some of the attention away from the writing, and as a result devalued how important it is to a series. And so because of that, I think that there are a lot of fine tunings that we can see in like a series that will see the same level of acclaim as series previously, like a Solo Leveling, a Demon Slayer. Even though I can enjoy these series, I can acknowledge that there are aspects of the writing, whether it's in the world building, whether it's in the characterization, that pale in comparison to their alternatives in previous generations, because there are other aspects that are more important. So because the gap for what good animation is better now, that can now carry a series. And so because of that, the writing I do think is a little bit worse.
I think that's a fair point.
Yeah. But that's just one takeaway. I can respect it being the same, because if you were to put it on a graph of like, okay, available knowledge at the time and then the capacity for writing, I probably the gap has probably stayed the same. But perception's reality. But unless we have anything else, that's I think we've had an absolutely amazing convo on how things have changed, evolved, and whatnot. Real quick before we do start to wrap up, I do want to point out the ad break will be in here a little bit earlier, but we do have the Flow Awards coming up. And in order for us to have those, you guys have to vote. So down in the description, you can vote for your favorite host, the funniest host, the sussest host, Sus's pod member, best guest, best episode, etc. All these different community-driven awards that rely on you and your participation. So please go in the description, click on the Google form, and fill out your winners for this year's Flow Awards, which will be coming up in the following weeks or whatnot. So in order to be a part of that, please vote down in the description. Once again, shout out to Sam for coming on. Thank you, man, for this has been an amazing conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. And before we do wrap up, I'm just curious because Acid and Cardiac in particular, like as creators, or trying to get into screenwriting and writing manga, what got you to that place? Like, what started you down that road?
As you want to go or you?
Oh, I can go. Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, overall, I've had more renown on TikTok. I guess that's the best way to say it. So I was surrounded by a lot more content creators who were just starting and seeing the progression of manga, and so everybody at one point was just creating their own series. So I kind of noticed that every single creator that I kind of know starting their own series. So I was like, what if I create a story about what it means to be an anime fan, the actual importance and stuff like that, and try to give a different perspective base, because I know a lot of people, at least on TikTok, it was a lot of new fans, a lot of new theories, a lot of new stuff back to back. So I was like, what if I make a manga series about that, giving my own spins and twists on it based on things that I saw in my life. So that's how it mainly was for me. And then I even seen some content creators become full-time, and then the second they became full-time content creators, they stopped creating content just to focus on their manga for a year, which I thought was insane. But seeing that progression of just how wise they got within only a year to 2 year time span, it kind of was I want to be like that one day. So that's how it was for me overall.
Cool.
Yeah. Understand. From my point of view, I actually just basically ended my stint as a part-time AniTuber. About half and half my content on my channel is anime related. And so getting into that, which also leads into the desire for screenwriting. I always grew up talking or performing, whether it was music, whether it was reciting speeches or whatnot. And so the consistent fact, once I realized what I want to do, I came into college, STEM major, engineering or whatnot. It was stimulating. It's good, of course leads to good money. But after I had gotten out the band here, I was really trying to focus on okay, what do I want to do? I know what I need to do. I know, I need to secure a career. But what is a passion of mine now that I'm not doing music every day? What is it? And the answer I came to was storytelling. I realized that the overarching thing in my life that connected all of the things I had been a part of was telling a story to people to improve lives, to have an impact. And even in high school, I recognized a little bit of that, and that's what it spewed the creation of the YouTube channel. And so, of course, making analysis videos on pre-existing series, that's not me telling a story per se, but the way that I was able to personalize it was through the inspirations. Probably the most infamous inspiration for my YouTube channel was Nux Taku. So yeah, I'm assuming you're familiar. Yeah. But hopefully you understand that it was a previous era of Nux.
Yeah, it's very interesting where the Nux of the Escanor videos it was versus the Nux of today, for sure.
Of today, yes. And so it was the level of personalization I saw that he would have in his videos, despite not showing his face, and how he would connect different analyses to a personal message or whatnot was really inspirational. And so I took that, and that was the first form of connecting existing art to storytelling to influencing people's lives. And then as life started getting busier and whatever, and then I had the second I call it a great awakening, but realization of like what my passions were and where they lied. I realized I'm like, okay, analyzing existing stories is fine and it's cool. And, like we mentioned before, you're tapping into an existing audience, but I have ideas as well. I have the capacity for creativity to, explain this idea that I have through its own unique world and not an existing one from someone else's mind. So that's really what got me on those creative paths personally. What was it for you, by chance?
It was very similar to that in terms of just like, the question you ask yourself is, I know what I need to do, but what do I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Very similar of what is the thing I love, and it's storytelling. So that started with like superhero novels that turned into writing a manga, which, we'll see how that goes. And then it almost helps the writing to do the analysis of
Yes.
like all these current running anime series. So I honestly, to like how I started YouTube was basically to try and grow a little bit of an audience for my manga. And then it just became an absolute obsession to the point that they're of equal footing for priorities now.
Yeah.
And 90% of my life is dedicated to one of those two things if I'm not, at like a full-time job.
Yeah. Which is an amazing thing. And especially what you were saying of like the analysis aiding the creation part of it, because it helps you understand what people want. What type of stories are effective? What type of characters do people connect to? And that is the replacement for what we were talking about earlier of like, you can only press publish once, but you can see the thousands of other things that people have pressed publish on. And you can see what audience they've garnered, what trends they've followed, what things they've set into place, or even what they were thinking in order to create the thing that was unique for them that you can then employ for your story. So that's amazing, man.
I really like the idea of being an anime fan as the basis of your story. Honestly, until you said it, it literally never crossed my mind to even think about that. But when you lay it out, it's such a like obviously cool idea that could relate to literally any manga or anime fan.
Mm-hmm. Because you are now the center of the story. It is literally the self-insert, like the ultimate self-insert.
Like I have pictures and everything of the character designs and things like that because I can't draw. I want this to be known. I am not a talented guy by any means. I am a yapper, and that is about it. So
that is a talent, man.
That is a talent. So like getting the things together, like not even just like, just I guess the best way is to say it, resources, because it just means more than just one thing. Like, and involvement, because I think time is also a resource in itself. Because
for sure,
getting everything stepped out and trying to visualize the characters, like you already know what you think in your mind, but trying to like get it laid out on paper exactly to a 1-to-1 based on how you think it is an all different being, and then trying to match up how they act based on how they look is extremely different as well. So for me, I do have a character. I have certain personality traits in the character, but we are still two different people. I viewed my character Jacob as what would I want in a friend, both good and bad. Because I think people pick their friends based on different parts of themselves. So I was like, my friend Jacob is like me, but he's a different person.
That's a really cool way to center a story, honestly.
I just gotta get back to writing. I think I have a one shot that I want to release. That's gonna be my like stepping stone. So all the feedback I get from the one shot, then I will go to chapter 1. So that's my way of being like, okay, maybe I can still release it without being a full on thing and still getting the feedback. So that's what I was like if I do a one shot like how other manga could do, I can come back improve my actual chapter 1, take the bits and pieces that was good, and try to like differentiate the things that was negative. So that was my way of going about it.
That's cool.
That's how you game the system.
Yeah.
As someone who's also not remotely artistically talented, there are a couple of artists I've worked with that I could link you up with if you want to.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, man. That's what the pod's all about, man. Oh, my God.
Now, get that Don Machi video.
No, 3 in a row in December.
Thank you. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, why he upload a new video about this break that's happening or this Frieren war? Like, I'm dead serious. I watched your video. I was like, this dude's good. Let me watch the next one. I watched
that's
all
so
3.
funny. God, that's funny.
I got to go through the binge. I've seen a couple. I've seen a lot of the ones that I'm like, okay, this would be a great discussion for the pod. Let me see existing opinions on it. So like is this anime's next great fantasy? Kind of going off of that, and then a few of your other ones like My Hero Needed Stain. That one was A1.
Oh.
A1. Do you script?
Appreciate it. Yeah. So basically, like, I usually write about a script a week, maybe 2 scripts a week nowadays. And then, yeah, I mean, like, I just shoot it on my phone and then I go from there and try and make it work. I did not expect to come in here and see, the Don Machi love or a Grand Magic Games fan. So I'm pleasantly surprised on the love
everything.
for those.
I watch everything, man. Everything.
Yeah, him and TK, the fucking fiends on the pod. But unless there's anything else,
let's get the ecchi.
Amazing discussions, man. The ecchi, that's when it's time to go. That's when it's really time to go. We will catch y'all later. Thank y'all for watching this episode of the Flow Anime Podcast.
Well, you didn't ask Alice. You didn't ask Alice if he had anything to say.
Nope.
I said unless anyone has anything to say.
No, it's time to wrap it up. I don't know what's going on.
Oh my god!
All right.
I was like, etchy. I was like, oh, I got something to go.
My bad.
Anybody looking at our Twitter weird lately? That's not us. That's as it.
That's only as it. It's only as it on the Twitter. It is only him. He's the only person logged in.
He's our Mark. He's our Mark to RJ. Like how they have Mark and RJ on the Twitter. He's our Mark. That's what it is.
There we go.
I would say RJ did just be throwing Mark under the bus, but we will catch y'all next time. Thank y'all for watching and flow out. Peace.